Welcome to Episode 31, Incident Response Part 3, Evidence, Timing, and Pitfalls. This session explores how organizations prove their incident response process truly works. Policy statements and playbooks matter, but without verifiable evidence, their effectiveness remains unproven. Evidence gives shape to the story of detection, containment, and recovery, showing that actions followed the plan rather than improvisation. It transforms incident response from narrative to record, from trust to proof. A mature program builds this evidence naturally as work occurs, leaving behind an audit trail that is factual, precise, and defensible. In every serious review or regulatory inquiry, that trail speaks louder than any summary. Building on that principle, an evidence map covering detection through recovery creates order in what could otherwise be chaos. The map links each event and artifact to its position in the timeline, who detected it, what was done next, and how recovery concluded. Imagine laying out every log, ticket, and email so the entire incident unfolds chronologically. This mapping confirms that the organization followed its life cycle: detect, classify, contain, eradicate, and recover. When done correctly, the evidence map becomes both an internal learning tool and an external assurance document. It verifies that each required step occurred in sequence, without gaps or contradictions. From there, timestamps, time zones, and precision determine whether evidence can stand up to scrutiny. A single inconsistent timestamp can distort the sequence of events, making investigators question reliability. Systems should be synchronized to a trusted time source, and logs should capture time zones explicitly. For example, if a detection occurred in a regional data center at midnight local time but appears as 05 in coordinated universal time, clarity prevents confusion during analysis. Accurate, standardized time data allows teams to correlate alerts, user activity, and containment actions across systems. Precision builds confidence that the incident record reflects reality, not guesswork. Extending this documentation discipline, every severity classification decision should be recorded, including rationale. When severity changes mid-incident, the reasons must be visible. Perhaps new intelligence revealed broader impact or regulatory implications. Suppose a phishing incident initially marked low severity later exposes credential reuse across production systems. The updated classification must include justification, timestamp, and approving authority. Recording these transitions provides context that simple numbers cannot. It also allows future analysts to see how decision-making evolved under pressure. Documenting classification decisions builds transparency into a process that might otherwise appear subjective or arbitrary. From there, triage notes and ownership records capture the human side of response: who observed, who decided, and what they did. Triage is often fast-moving, but documenting these actions as they occur prevents knowledge loss. Notes might include initial observations, hypotheses, or false starts later corrected. Ownership records track who handled each step and when control changed hands. For example, if a network analyst triaged an alert before escalating to forensics, that path should be visible in the record. Detailed triage notes bridge the gap between raw logs and executive summaries, preserving nuance and intent. Continuing the life cycle, containment steps, approvals, and variations must also be recorded clearly. Containment often involves exceptions or adjustments depending on system conditions. Documenting exactly what was isolated, who approved the action, and what alternatives were considered builds credibility. Imagine a responder deciding to isolate a subnet rather than an entire data center. Capturing that rationale shows measured judgment, not recklessness. Each containment record should include timestamps, responsible parties, and links to supporting evidence such as firewall or orchestration logs. This level of detail turns technical decisions into demonstrable compliance artifacts. Building further, eradication actions need their own verification proof. Eradication removes the root cause, malware, compromised accounts, or misconfigurations, and must demonstrate that removal was both complete and validated. Verification might include fresh scans, hash comparisons, or forensic checks confirming that malicious artifacts are gone. For example, after deleting a malicious script, running integrity tools to confirm no remnants remain provides closure. Recording these validation steps shows that the response did not stop at intention but reached measurable completion. Inconsistent eradication evidence is one of the most common gaps found in post-incident audits. From there, recovery checkpoints and service restoration evidence confirm that normal operations resumed safely. Recovery should include explicit testing steps, validation of control functionality, and user confirmation where relevant. Suppose a system returns online after patching. Logs should show it passed vulnerability scans and resumed normal performance metrics. Recovery records complete the lifecycle narrative, showing transition from response to stability. They also allow comparison between estimated and actual downtime, data loss, or restoration duration. Consistent recovery evidence turns subjective claims of resolved into objective proof of closure. Expanding the record, communications logs and stakeholder updates capture what was said, to whom, and when. Communication during incidents can shape perception as much as technical outcomes. Logs of internal briefings, executive updates, and customer notifications form part of the evidence set. Each message should link to its approving authority and timing. For instance, documenting that a regulator was notified within the required window shows compliance beyond doubt. Capturing communication trails protects against memory gaps or misstatements later. It also allows teams to evaluate how well information flowed between technical responders and leadership. Building on accountability, chain of custody for collected artifacts ensures evidence remains trustworthy. Every transfer of data, image, or log should be logged with who handled it, when, and for what purpose. Even in internal investigations, maintaining this rigor protects integrity and legal defensibility. Imagine forensic images of compromised servers stored in a secure repository, each movement recorded automatically in the ticketing system. That chain of custody shows nothing was altered or misplaced. When external investigators or law enforcement become involved, these records preserve continuity of trust from discovery to resolution. From there, regulator notifications and confirmation receipts form the external boundary of evidence. Many industries require proof that mandatory reports were delivered within defined timelines. Confirmation receipts, whether email acknowledgments, web portal confirmations, or case numbers, prove compliance objectively. For example, if privacy regulators require notification within 72 hours, showing a time-stamped confirmation eliminates debate. These documents also demonstrate transparency and cooperation, qualities that weigh heavily in regulatory evaluations. Retaining them alongside incident evidence shows that reporting obligations are operational, not theoretical. Continuing the external thread, third-party coordination records and outcomes reflect the collaborative nature of modern incidents. Cloud providers, vendors, and managed service partners often play key roles in detection or resolution. Keeping records of correspondence, shared logs, and agreed actions creates a complete picture. For instance, if a vendor supplied patch verification or isolation support, that proof belongs in the evidence package. Documenting third-party performance supports both accountability and lessons learned. It reveals whether external coordination met expectations or introduced delay. Over time, these records strengthen contractual relationships by aligning evidence with responsibility. Finally, recognizing common pitfalls and maintaining corrective playbooks prevents evidence from collapsing under review. Frequent errors include inconsistent timestamps, missing approval documentation, and fragmented communication records. Corrective playbooks define how to detect and fix each weakness quickly. For example, if triage notes are often incomplete, a checklist can prompt analysts to record key data before closing tickets. Treating evidence management as a living process ensures improvement after every audit. Over time, evidence quality becomes as mature as technical response capability itself. A reliable trail is not accidental. It is engineered through repetition and review. In closing, evidence aligns with narrative when every record reinforces the same story from detection to recovery. The best programs design documentation so that auditors, leaders, and responders see identical truths from different angles. Consistency between evidence and narrative builds credibility that endures beyond any single event. When timestamps match actions and actions match policy, the organization can prove, not just claim, that its incident response works. In the end, confidence comes not from promises, but from proof carefully built into every step of the process. Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.